Hello, everybody. I am the Sauntering Spellcaster, sauntering through your mind and other places. Once again, here to read some of the Kalevala. Once I am done reading through the Kalevala, I will return to streaming through different games. I just like taking a break from games every now and then to read books. I think it's fun. Runot 16, Väinämöinen in Tuonela. Old reliable Väinämöinen, he the great eternal seer, was engaged upon his boat, busy building his new vessel, on that misty point of land at the head of Foggy Island. But the shipwright has no timber, builder of the boat no planking. Who will find the timber for him? Who will get the needed oak wood for the boat of Väinämöinen, for the keel beam of the singer? Pellervoinen, gnome of Plowland, Sampsa lad, the little one. He's the boy to find the timber. He's the one to get the oaken wood. For the boat of Väinämöinen, for the keel beam of the singer. Out he went upon the highway, walking leisurely northeastward, over one hill, over two hills, even over three hills trampling, golden axe upon his shoulder, golden axe with copper handle. On his way he met an aspen, rising up 3 fathoms high. He got ready to approach it, and to fell it with his axe. Hastily the aspen checked him, and forestalled him with its tongue. What, man, do you want of me? Anyway, what are you seeking? Sampsa boy, the gnome of Plowland, put the matter in these words. This is what I want of you, what I want and what I seek. Just a boat for Väinämöinen, timber for the singer's vessel. It was very odd indeed, what the 100-brancher answered. What a boat you'd get from me, a leaky tub, a sinking skiff. I am hollow in the butt. Thrice already in this summer, grubby borers ate my heart out, and the worm is at the root. Forward on his way went Sampsa boy, the gnome of Plowland, walking on in meditation as he took the northward way. Soon he met a tall old pine, raising up 6 fathoms high, and he struck it with his axe, banged it lightly with the grub hoe. And he asked the tall old tree, would you be the one, old Holkie, for the boat of Väinämöinen, for the singer's good ship timber? Hurriedly the pine replied, panting out a sullen grumble, but no boat will come from me. No support for 6 boat ribs. I am old and gnarled and knotty. Thrice already in this summer rocked the raven of my summit, croaked the crow upon my branches. Forward on his way went Sampsa boy, the gnome of Plowland, walking on in meditation as he took the southward way, till he came upon an oak with a girth of 9 full fathoms. Then he spoke out questioning, would you be the right one, oak, for the bottom of the raider, for the keel beam of a warship? Artfully the oak replied, and it spoke out knowingly, there is wood enough in me, mother wood for one's boat's keel. I am not a knotty pine, and inside I am not hollow. Thrice already in this summer, in this long and pleasant season, round my trunk the sun has circled, on my crown the moon has glimmered, on my branches cuckoos crawled, in my leaves the birds have rested. Sampsa boy, the gnome of Plowland, took the axe from off his shoulder, struck the tree a mighty blow, chopped the oak tree with his axe bit, had the skill to fell it quickly, brought the good oak crashing down. First he cleared the crown away, then he cut the trunk in sections, out of which he shaped the keel beams, and a stack of countless lumber, for the mighty singer's vessel, for the boat of Väinämöinen. Then the staunch old Väinämöinen, he the great eternal seer, made a boat with magic knowledge, built a vessel with his singing. Built it from a single tree, segments of the fallen oak, sang a song, laid the keelson, sang a second, raised the freeboard. As the third song echoed round, carved the rowlocks for the oars, finished off the rib ends neatly, overlapped the planking tightly. Done were keel and rib and planking, when the singer's tongue was halted. From the chant 3 words were missing, one to fix the gunwale firmly, one to line up poop and prow, one to finish off the stern. Old reliable Väinämöinen, he the great eternal seer, put his feelings into words. Oh, my days so miserable, cannot even launch a boat, get my new boat on the water. Then he thought it over, wondering where to get the missing words, recompose the magic charms from the crowns of many swallows, from the heads of flocking swans, shoulders of a skein of geese. Then he went to hunt them down. He destroyed a crowd of swans, massacred a skein of geese, and beheaded countless swallows, but he filled no charm from them, not by word or half a word. Then he thought it over, wondering, maybe there's 100 spells under tongue of summer reindeer, in the mouth of winter squirrel. So he went to hunt them down, to get the magic charms from them, got a whole corral of reindeer, and a rafter full of squirrels, got 100 spells indeed, but not a single one would work. So he thought it over, wondering, I will get 100 sayings from the haunts of Tuonela, from the timeless house of Mana. Went to Tuonela for charms, Manala for words of magic. Leisurely he strolls along, for 1 week through sapling walking, 2nd week through chokecherry marching, 3rd through stands of juniper. Now appears the Isle of Mana, with the knoll of Tuoni looming. At the death-dark river of Tuoni, by the slack of Mana water, old reliable Väinämöinen gives a great halloo halloo. Tuoni's daughter, child of Mana, bring the boat, fetch the ferry, so that I can pass the gulf, get across the death-dark river. Tuoni's daughter, short and squat, Mana's maiden, low in stature, was there washing out her laundry, busy batting at the clothing, by the death-dark river of Tuoni, by the slack of Mana water. There she answered Väinämöinen, we will bring the boat from here, only when you tell the reason why you come down from here to Manala, without dying of disease, neither in the course of nature, nor by other doom deceased. To this Väinämöinen answered, it was Tuoni brought me here, Mana dragged me from my country. Tuoni's daughter, short and squat, Mana's maiden, low in stature, put the matter into words. What a tongue-beater you are! If my father brought you here, Mana moved you from your country. Tuona would escort you here, Mana keep you company. Tuoni's hat upon your shoulders, Mana's mittens on your hands. Tell the truth now, Väinämöinen, what has brought you down to Mana? Old reliable Väinämöinen spoke these words in answer there. Iron brought me down to Mana, Steel has whisked me down to Tuoni. Tuoni's daughter short and squat, Mana's maiden low in stature, said a word and spoke out thus. By that I know you for a liar. If iron brought you down to Mana, if steel brought you to Tuonela, then your clothing would be bloody, and the red death streaming out. Tell the truth now, Väinämöinen. Tell it now this second turn. To this Väinämöinen answered, Water brought me down to Mana, on the wave to Tuonela. Tuoni's daughter, short and squat, Mana's maiden, low in stature, said a word and spoke out thus. What an all-around liar you are. If water brought you down to Mana, on the wave to Tuonela, then your clothing would be dripping, and your hymns would be cascading. Tell the truth exactly now. What has brought you down to Mana? So Väinämöinen lies once more. Fire brought me to Tuonela, flame to the caverns of the dead. Tuoni's daughter, short and squat, Mana's maiden, low in stature, said a word and spoke out thus. Still I count you for a liar. If fire brought you down to Mana, or if flame to Tuonela, sadly would your hair be singed, and your old beard badly burned. Oh, you Väinämöinen, you, if you want the boat from here, tell the truth exactly now. Let this be the last of lying. Here did you get to Manala, without dying of disease, neither in the course of nature, nor by other doom deceased? Said old Väinämöinen lightly, If I lied a tiny bit, fibbed a little now and then, I can tell the truth as well. I was singing up a vessel, building it with magic charms, sang a day and sang another, even on the third day singing, when the song sled broke beneath me, and the speaking runners halted, went to Tuoni for a gimlet, and to Mana for an auger, to repair my broken sled, to rebuild my lovely song sleigh, build the boat, fetch the ferry, so that I can pass the gulf. Get across the death-dark river. Now the daughter of Tuoni scolded, maid of Mana cried and cackled, Oh, you fool, you, mad with madness, short on brains and long on folly, came to Tuoni without cause, Mana's house without a sickness. Better would it be for you to return to your own country. Many there are who enter here, few there are who e'er return. Said old Väinämöinen then, Women change their mind halfway, not a man, however lowly, not the worst of good-for-nothings. Bring the boat, fetch the ferry. Tuoni's daughter brings the boat, takes old Väinämöinen over gulf and over river, and these words she scolded him. Oh, you poor old Väinämöinen, come to Mana without dying, without cause to Tuonela. Tuoni's wife, the kindly matron, Mana's consort, good old housewife, served him ale then in a pitcher, and a tankard with two handles. Over courteously she added, Drink it down, old Väinämöinen. Old reliable Väinämöinen peered down closely at the pitcher. On the bottom frogs were spawning, worms were coiling at the rim. Staring down at them he said, I did not come here for drinking, guzzling out of Mana's goblets, lapping up these Tuoni tankers. All the drinkers get is drunk. Drainers of the jug are doomed. Said the mistress of Tuonela, Bad luck on you, Väinämöinen. Why then did you come to Mana? Why to the house of Tuonela? Tuoni did not want you yet. Mana did not summon you. Said old Väinämöinen freely, I was working at my boat, singing up a brand new vessel. I forgot 3 magic words for the finishing of the stern and the shaping of the prow. Since I could not find them there, on the earth or in the air, I had come to Tuonela, to the houses of the dead, so that I could get those charms, get to know the magic words. Said the dame of Tuonela, Tuoni will not yield his secrets, nor will Mana yield his power. And what's more, you're here forever. Never will you go back home, creep back to your own dear acres. Then she charmed the man to dreaming, gently laid the weary sleeper on the fur-lined bed of Tuoni. Then the man lies slumbering, and the fellow quietly dreaming. Yet his garments kept the vigil, though the man himself was sleeping. A woman was there in Tuonela, ancient dame with pointy chin, spinning out a thread of iron, drawing out a skein of copper, spun a net of 100 fathoms, and reeled off 1,000 fathoms. In one single night of summer, on a magic waterstone, a man was there in Tuonela. He's the old man with 3 fingers, weaver of the iron netting, maker of the copper dragnets, wove a net 100 fathoms, and reeled out 100,000 fathoms, in a single night of summer, on a magic waterstone. Crooked fingers, son of Tuoni, crooked fingers iron-tipped, stretched the 100-fathom dragnet across the river of Tuonela, crosswise, lengthwise, and aslant, to prevent this Väinämöinen, stop this man of quiet water, from ever escaping out of there, never while the moon shines golden, never out of Tuonela, from the depths of Manala. And old Väinämöinen wondered, has my final ruin fallen? Has my day of doom come on me? In the haunts of Tuonela, in the caverns of the dead? So at once he changed his form, and disguised he started over, like a black streak through the water, as an otter through the rushes. As an iron worm he crept, went on like a poison adder, slithered through the river of Tuoni, slipping through the net of Tuoni. Crooked fingers, son of Tuoni, crooked fingers iron-tipped. Very early in the morning went to see his foolproof nets. What a catch 100 trouts, and 1,000-fold of young fry, but not the big fish Väinämöinen, the old man of quiet water. Safely home from Tuonela, Väinämöinen made this prayer: Never thou, good Jamala, never let a single person, never on his own decision, pass the gates of Manala, push his way to Tuonela. Many there are who enter, few there are who e'er return from the homes of Tuonela, timeless caverns of the dead. Still he spoke in solemn tones, set it forth in mournful words, to the growing younger people, to the rising generation. Never, you children of mankind, never, never, forever never, put the blame upon the blameless, never hurt the innocent. Drastic is the penalty in the house of Tuonela. There the guilty have their spaces, sinners have their resting places, on a couch of searing slabstone, on a bed of burning boulders, under a cover of woven serpents, woven from the worms of Tuoni. Runot 17. Vipunen. Though the staunch old Väinämöinen failed to get the spells he needed from the haunts of Tuonela, timeless caverns of the dead, still he kept on puzzling, pondering, with his head upon his hand, where the words might yet be gotten to fill in this magic charm. Then a passing herdsman told him where they might be likely searched for. You can get 1,000 spells 1,000 strands of magic bursts from the mouth of Vipinin, belly of the verseful one. But to get there you must travel on a path that must be followed. It is not the best of journeys, nor the very worst of passes, but the first stunt you must run on the point of women's needles, for the second you must skip on the sword points of the swordsman, for the third stunt you must stride on the edge of battle axes. But the staunch old Väinämöinen made his mind up to attempt it. Then he hurried to the smithy, where he spoke to Ilmarinen. "O you smith, you Ilmarinen, forge me shoes and gloves of iron, iron shirt and iron cowslaff. Make it steel and all for pay. Make the core of it from steel, wrought iron on the outside only. I am off to get great magic, to unriddle mighty secrets, from a belly full of magic, from the mouth of Vipinin." Said the forthright Ilmarinen, "Vipinin has passed away. Long ago he disappeared. From the laying of his traps, from the setting of his snares, you will get no magic there, no, not even half a word." Väinämöinen did not heed him, and proceeded on his way, for the first day lightly stepping on the points of women's needles, for the second gaily skipping on the sword points of the swordsman, for the third day widely striding on the edge of battle axes. Verseful Vipinin now lies, rich with oldest lore of magic, underground with all his verses, stretched out sleeping full of riddles. On his shoulders grew an aspen, birches rising from his temples, alder thicket on his jaw, willow bush upon his beard, squirrel spruce upon his forehead, from his teeth an old pine growing. Väinämöinen, when he got there, drew his sword, bared his blade, drew it from its leather scabbard, hanging from the goatskin belt, felled the aspen from the shoulders, cut the birches from the temples, from the jaws the spreading alders, bush of willow from the beard, squirrel spruces off the forehead, from the teeth the tall old pine tree. Then he drove his iron cowl staff into the mouth of Vipinin, straight between his grinning gums and between his trembling jaws, as he shouted to arouse him, "Slave of man, it is time to wake up from sleep beneath the earth. Waken from your long, long dreaming." At once the verseful Vipinin did awaken from his dreaming, felt an agonizing pain and excruciating anguish, clamped the teeth upon the cowl staff, biting on the weak wrought iron, but he could not bite it through, could not crack the steely core, as told Väinämöinen waiting, as old Väinämöinen waited, standing by the open mouth. One foot slipped, the other slid, sliding on the giant's jawbone into the mouth of Antero. Then the verseful Vipinin opened his enormous mouth, till he swallowed man and sword, gulped them down into his gullet. Cried the verseful Vipinin, "I have eaten many a morsel, eaten lamb and eaten kid, eaten beef and eaten boar, but never anything like this, nothing with a taste like this." Said the startled Väinämöinen, "Maybe now my ruin has come, day of doom descended on me, in the cavern of this demon, in this graveyard cave of Kalma." Then he wonders what to do, how exit or how survive. In his belt he has a knife, handle carved of curly birchwood. Out of that he makes a boat, conjures merely with his magic, rows and slips it through the gut in the belly of the giant, through the gut from end to end, scouring every nook and corner. But old verseful Vipunen was not greatly troubled by that, whereupon old Väinämöinen turned himself into a blacksmith, and became an iron worker, turned his shirt into a smithy. From the sleeves he made the bellows, with his fur coat as the blowers. From the pant leg made the air pipe, from his socks the mouthpiece for it. Set his knee up for the anvil, used his elbow for a hammer. Then he hammered, banged away, working, forging diligently, through the whole night without resting, all day without taking breath, in the belly of the wise one, mighty man with mighty magic. Verseful Vipunen, astounded, cried out in alarm and wonder, "If a man, who are you there, and what sort of human creature? I have eaten men by hundreds, by the thousands swallowed them, but never anything like this. To my mouth hot coals are rising, firebrands on my tongue are burning, cinders choking up my gullet. Get away from here, you gruesome. Go, you evil of the earth, before I go and get your mother. Call upon your honored parent. If I tell your mother on you, drop just one word to the old one, she will bear a great burden, an enormous torment to her, that her son is doing evil and behaving very badly. I can see no reason for it, nor can even guess the cause. Why, you, demon, fastened on me, were you, death's head, ever come from? To bite and eat, gnash and gnaw? Are you really a disease? Were you made by the Creator, doom decreed by Jumala, or a conjured black illusion, wrought by other power than his, sent here as a heathen hireling, a thing performed for money only? If you are a god-made illness, doom decreed by Jumala, so be it, creature to Creator. On his mercy then I cast me. God does not reject the good, nor cast away the innocent. If you are just a bad illusion, and an ill devised by others, surely I can learn your lineage, your birthplace, and your origin. There of old the ills began, from the haunt of sorcerers, where black magic emanated, from the pastures of the singers, from the dens of sly deceivers, from the meadows of magicians, from the graveyards of the heathlands, in the ground beneath the ground, from the houses of the dead, in the courtyard of cadavers, soggy soil and crumbling earth, rattling gravel, squeaking sands, from the dampness of the hollows, mossless fens and quaking bogs, and from overflowing fountains, from the cave of Hissus Coppice, from the fissures of 5 mountains, from the top of Copper Mountain, from its highest peaks of copper, from the rustling of the spruces, from the hollow humming pinewood, from the tops of punky pines and the rotting evergreens, from the yapping place of foxes, ski trails of the swift elk hunters, from the stony lair of Bruin, from the bear's own rocky cave, from the way-back fields of Northland, from the wide extent of Lapland, fields unplowed and barren clearings, from the blood of battlefields, where a great host of men are slaughtered, and the bloody grass is shrinking, as the steaming gore is reeking, from the wide expanse of sea, out upon the open ocean, from the black ooze at the bottom, down 1,000 fathoms deep, from the rippling of the rivers, from the boilings of the maelstroms, from the cataract of Finnmark, from the might of crashing water, from beyond the high horizon, black of clouds foreboding drought, from the wind way of Kalevala, where the infant winds are cradled. Was it there, you black magician, where you too originated? Is it from there that you came to torment an innocent heart and abuse a harmless belly, eating, gnawing, biting, crunching? Shrivel up, you hound of Hisi, mongrel out of Manala, out, you toad, now from my bowels, out of my liver too, earth's horror. Stop devouring my heart's flesh. Stop the scraping of my spleen. Stop the stretching of my stomach and the twisting of my lungs. Leave off nibbling at my navel and the gripping of my groin. Quit the stripping of my backbone and the flaying of my flanks. Since my human powers fail, I will call on higher powers to unload this horror from me, make this terror disappear. From the earth I'll raise the earthwives, from the fields earth's primal masters, all the swordsmen of the soil, and the horsemen of the sands, as my people, as my powers, to my side as my defenders, in this painful toil and trouble, in this agonizing anguish. If you pay no heed to this, do not ease up just a bit, then arise, ye primal woodsmen, and ye junipers with your people, ye tall pine trees with your families, landlocked pondlets with your children. Come 100 swordsmen now, and 1,000 armored warmen, to obliterate this Hisi and annihilate this Judas. If you pay no heed to this, do not ease up just a bit, then rise, you mistress of the water, blue-capped mistress from the waves, finely dressed one of the marshes, from the ooze, O form of beauty. Strengthen thou this little fellow, make this mannikin more manly, lest I be devoured guiltless, and must die without a sickness. If you pay no heed to this, do not ease up just a bit, then I'll call upon the mother, woman primeval, nature's daughter, precious, more beautiful than gold, thou the oldest of all women, thou alone the first of mothers, come to name the pain that haunts me, drive away these dreadful days, take away this torment from me, cleanse me of this dread infection. If you do not heed that either, do not ease up just a bit, Ukko at the pole of heaven, riding on a thunderhead. Come thou here where thou art needed, hurry down where thou art called on, to cut short these evil works, to strip bare these black enchantments. With the flashing of thy sword, with the lightning of thy blade, get away from here, you gruesome! Go away, you curse of earth! This is not the place for you, even if you need a refuge. Move your hut away from here. Find a refuge somewhere else, back there in your master's barnyard, in the footsteps of your mistress. When you get there, journey ended, through the meadows of your maker, your creator's pasture lands, make a sign of recognition. Give a secret signal then, make a rumbling like thunder, and a flashing like lightning. At the farmyard kick the gate in, lower the window board and enter, whirl in like a hurricane. By the hock and by the heel, drag the masters and the matrons from the corners of their comfort. From the master gouge his eyes out, and the mistress crush her skull in. Turn their fingers into pothooks, twist their heads until they're backwards. Or if little comes of that, fly the laneway as a rooster, as a hen's child to the farmyard, chest first to the rubbish heap, and commanding from the dung heap, Drive the horses from the stable and the cattle from the cowshed. Turn them over, horns and dung, with their tails along the ground and their eyeballs upside down. With a quick twist, crack their necks. Maybe you're a wind-borne sickness, driven by the wind stream here, gift of spring wind Ahava, by his chilly breath escorted. Go away then as you came, and depart upon the windway. On the sledway of the spring wind, without perching on a tree, without resting on an elder, to the crown of Copper Mountain, to its highest peaks of copper, lullabied by rocking winds, swayed by breath of Ahava. Maybe you have come from heaven, back of clouds foreboding drought. Then go back up there again, soaring to the upper air, to the sprinklings of the clouds and the twinklings of the stars. There no glow in fiery splendor on the highway of the sun and the halos of the moon. Or if water-borne you plague, driven hither by these sea waves, then go back to where you came from, down beneath the sea waves running, there along the muddy bastions, and along the watery ridges, there to rock repeatedly to the dreary beat of breakers. If you come from Graveyard Heath, where the dead forever slumber, then go back the way you came to those graveyard grounds of Culma, down into the mouldy earth, to the ever-shifting grounds, into which the people vanish, under which strong nations sink. If you stupid come from there, from the forest cave of Hissy, from the dens among the pines, from among the tall old pines, there I conjure you to go, to the demon's den returning, to the dens among the pines, to among the tall old pines, there to live in solitude, till your floors all rot away, and mushrooms grow upon the walls, till the ceiling falls down on you. I will exorcise you yonder, drive you there, you vicious vermin, to the lair of old Bruin, to the house of his old she-bear, to frozen fens and hellish hollows, quaking quicksands, gushing geysers, into landlocked fishless ponds, where no perch is ever swimming. If there's no place there for you, then I'll conjure you instead to the tundras of the Northland, Lapland's wide and barren plains, to the clearings without saplings, to an empty, unplowed land, where there's neither moon nor sun, nor in the east the rising day. May it be your luck to live there, and your joy to wander there, where on trees the carcasses of the elk and deer are hanging, from the hungry ones to eat, and the greedy ones to gorge on. I will conjure you on farther, will propel you up to Finnmark, to the mighty cataract, to the boiling whirlpool there, where the trees are plunging downward, where the pines are whirling round, tall ones diving butt end first, and the pollards tip end foremost, Swim there then, you painful pagan, on the foaming cataract, twisting in the violent vortex, live there in the crowded waters. If there's no place there for you, yonder then I'll conjure you down to Tuonella's black river, the eternal stream of mana, whence you never can return, never escape in all your days, if I do not come to free you, hurrying to arrive in time. Get there with 9 gilded rams, farrowed by a single ewe, and together with 9 bullocks, with the heifers of 1 cow, and with 9 colts of 1 stallion, with the young colts of 1 mare. If you're looking for a ride, begging for a carriage horse, gladly I'll provide you conveyance, gladly give you carriage horses. Hissy has a very good one, red mane on a barren fell, from his muzzle fire out-spurting, flame out-breathing from his nostrils. All his hoofs are made of iron, all those prancing hoofs of steel. They can go uphill with ease, climb the slope of any gully, guided by a hardy horseman, ridden by an expert rider. And if this is not enough, get the ski gear of the demon, the devil's right skis made of alder, the ski pole of the bad one, then ski off to demon country, wandering through the devil's thickets, skimming over Hissy's hillocks, gliding down the devil's tracks. If a rock is in your way, may it crumble into fragments. If a pine bough lies there lengthwise, may it also break asunder. If a man stands upright there, send him sprawling to one side. Go on now, you one too many. Move along, you devil's brat. Quit before the day is dawning, or the morning star appears. Now before the sun has risen, quick before the cockcrow sounds. Time to run away, you bad one, and you evil one to flee, while the moonlight still is shining, so that you can see your way. Mongrel dog without a mother, if you do not quit and leave me, I will get the claws of eagles, talons of the red blood drinker, flesh out-ripping beak of buzzard, tearing talons of the hawk, and with these I'll crush you, toad, fix you, nasty creature, till not a head or hair can stir, nor a breath to breathe a sigh. Formerly, the demon always, the true devil, mother-born, vanished at the break of day, in the hour of Jumala's waking. When his saving light appears, won't you quit and leave me now? Go, you motherless abortion! Vanish, dog without a master! Now depart, you motherless mongrel, with the ending of the night, with the fading of the moon. Väinämöinen now responded, This is such a pleasant place to pass the time agreeably. Liver serves me well for bread, and the juices make good drinking. Lungs are very good for stewing, belly fat the best of eating. In your heart I'll set my anvil, sink it deeper in your heart flesh, come down harder with the hammer, bang upon the sorest places, so that never in all your days will you ever have relief. If I do not hear the words, learn in full your words of wisdom, hear the charms abundantly, magic sayings by the thousands. Knowledge cannot stay concealed, hidden in some secret burrow. Words of wisdom never vanish, though the wise men pass away. Then the verseful Vipinen, oldest sage with oldest wisdom, in his mouth the greatest magic, in his bosom endless power, opened up his ark of sayings, and revealed his store of verses, for good singing, best of chanting, of the deepest origins, from the very birth of time, which not every child can copy, nor every grown-up understand, in these dreadful days of evil, in the last and fleeting age. Sang of origins and birth signs, chanted all the charms in order, how by words of the Creator, by the will of the Almighty, air itself was self-begotten. From the air the water issued, from the water came the earth, from the earth all growing things. Sang the shaping of the moon, hoisting of the sun on high, raising the pillars of the sky, and the starring of the heavens. There the verseful Vipinen surely sang and sang with skill. Never in all the days of time was such a singer heard or seen, never a better magic maker, never a smoother sorcerer. From his mouth the magic leaps, on his tongue enchantment rides, quick as the feet of a 2-year colt, rapid as the hoofs of a running racer. Day and night he sang unceasing, till the whole creation heard, wakened, shaken by the word. The sun stopped in its course to listen, and the golden moon to stare. On the sea the waves stood still, and the billows in the bay. All the rivers forgot to run, and the Finnmark rapids rested. Moveless stood the falls of Valski, even Jordan's river hearkened. Now that all spells were spoken, and he had the charms he needed to prepare his broken song sled, Väinämöinen was quite ready to escape out the maw, out of the belly of the verseful, from the bosom of the big one, away from Vipinen entirely. Said old Väinämöinen then, "O you Antero Vipponen, open up your mouth much wider, stretch it up and stretch it under. If I could get from gut to ground, I would head for home and quickly." Then said Vipinen the verseful, "I've drunk and eaten many things, and devoured them by the thousands, but never anything like this one, before I ate old Väinämöinen. In your coming you did well, now do better in your going." Therewith Antero Vipinen, with his gummy grin agape, opened up his mouth much wider, stretched it up and stretched it under. Väinö lost no time in leaping through the mighty mouth, from the belly of the verseful, from the bosom of the big one, sprang out from the gaping jaws, landed running on the hearth, as if he were a golden squirrel or a golden-breasted marten. Then he went on stepping briskly, till he reached the craftsman's smithy. Said the fourth mythopoeic, have you learned the words already? To complete the precious charms? How to fix the gunwale firmly? How to fasten on the stern? And to set the prow and stern post? Staunch old Väinämöinen answered, Yes, 100 spells already. Magic sayings by the thousands. Snared them from the secret places. Lured them from the hidden crannies. So he went back to his vessel, to his place of magic working. Then he got his boat completed, as he fixed the gunwale firmly. Finished off the stern end neatly, lined the prow and stern posts up, built the boat without a tool touch, without whittling off a silver. Oh, that's supposed to be a sliver. Sorry about that. Runot 18, The Rivals. Old reliable Väinämöinen thought it over, pondered on it. Should he go to woo that maiden? Go to see that long-haired lovely, up there in dark Pohjola, in the foggy land of sedges? Famous daughter of the north, special sweetheart of the Northland? Put blue broadcloth on his boat, also red sails on his vessel, with the bow and stern post gilded, overlaid with silver figures. One day early in the morning, very early in the dawning, Väinämöinen launched his vessel, his new boat, the 100-planker. Off the barkless rollers launched it, slid it from the pinewood skids, stepped the masts and set the sails, set a red one, set a blue one. Then he settles in the boat, stepping down into the vessel, and he sailed away to sea, out upon the blue sea surface. There he prayed the seaman's prayer, Jumala the merciful, come thou with me in my vessel, lend thy strength to a little man, make the mannikin more manly, on these far horizoned waters, out upon the open ocean. Rock my boat, O wind, O wave, drive it across the water, without a finger on an oar, without a stroke to break the surface, out the broad back of the sea, out upon the open ocean. Anarchy of goodly name, girl of night, maid of twilight, busy through the horseshoe day, long before the rising sun, watching at the early dawn, was already washing clothes, rinsing now the laundered garments on the red steps of the jetty, on a spacious landing place, watching from the misty point at the head of Foggy Island. Gazing, turning this way, that way, she was welcoming good weather. In the sky above her head, on the shores across the water. Up above the sun was shining, down below the waves were sparkling. She looked seaward, she looked southward, by the mouth of Finland's river to the waters of Väinämöinen. Saw some dark shape on the water, like a blue cloud on the billows. What's that dark thing there? She said. Dark blue object on the billows. If you are a skein of geese, or a flock of old squaws floating, then spring up in sudden flight, soaring high up to the heavens. If you are a school of salmon, or some other raft of fish, streak off in a sudden swimming, or then dive beneath the surface. If you were a rocky island, or a water-driven pine log, then the waves would break upon you, and the water overflow you. Nearer comes the boat, a new one, Väinämöinen's new-built vessel, sailing by the misty point. At the head of Foggy Island. Then she recognized the vessel, knew the boat the 100-planker. So with sigh words she addressed it. If you are my brother's boat, or the vessel of my father, then turn this way toward your home, pointing toward your native acres, with your prow now toward these landings, with your stern toward other landings. But if you are an utter stranger, swim off further out to sea, facing other landing stages, with your stern in this direction. That was neither a boat from home, nor an utter stranger to her. It was the boat of Väinämöinen, vessel of the ageless singer. Then it sailed on near and nearer, till it was in hailing distance, till one word was clearly heard, then a second and a third. Anarchy of goodly name, girl of night, maid of twilight, calling to the vessel, asked, Where were you going, Väinämöinen? Where headed, man of quiet water? What intending, pride of earth? From the vessel Väinö answered, I am going to fish for salmon, maybe catch a spawning lake trout, from the murk of Tuoni's river, from the depths of sedgy brook. Said the maid of goodly name, Don't you tell me empty fibs, I know all about the spawning. It was different when my father, different when my honored parent, went out fishing for the salmon, or to spear the fatty sea trout. Then the boat was full of nets, and the vessel full of dragnets. There were seines and there were ropes, beating poles along the sides. Under benches were barbed fish spears, and the stern long punting poles. Where were you going, Väinämöinen? Where headed, man of quiet water? Said old Väinämöinen to her, I came out to look for geese, where the dapple wings are playing, and to catch the drooly mouse in the deeps of Saxon sounds, out upon the open ocean. Anarchy of goodly name put the matter into words. I can tell a truthful speaker, and detect a liar also. In the old days it was different, when my father, honored elder, went out hunting for the honkers, waiting for the red-beaked honkers. With his mighty crossbow strung, ready drawn the bow of beauty, with the black dog on a leash, and the leash tied to a boat rib. Along the shore a mongrel ran, puppies padding on the shingle. Tell the truth now, Väinämöinen. Anyway, where were you going? Said old Väinämöinen then, What if I were going to war? To those great and butchering conflicts, where the battle is in balance, where the blood is on your shank, red and gory to the knees. Anarchy as usual answered. The tinny-breasted girl replied, Even war I understand. Long ago when my father went off to those bloody wars, where the battle was in balance, 100 men with oars were rowing, 1,000 without oars were sitting, and the prow were ready crossbows, handy sword blades on the benches. Tell the truth that can be trusted, solid truth, and no evasion. Where were you going, Väinämöinen? Where headed, man of quiet water? Then said Väinämöinen softly, Come into my boat, my pretty, in my vessel, maiden, and I'll tell the very truth, solid truth, and no evasion. Angrily Anarchy replied, loudly shrieked the tinny-breasted, May a blast come upon your boat, with Koldahava as your shipmate. Upside down I'll turn your vessel, with the prow end pointing downward, if I do not hear the truth where it is you want to go. Hear the truth now, plain and simple. Let this be the last of lying. Then old Väinämöinen answered, Now indeed I'll tell the truth, even though I fibbed a little. I was going to woo that maiden, to beseech the virgin's favor, from dark of Pohjola, from the foggy land of sedges, in that man-devouring region where so many humans founder. Annikki of goodly name, girl of night, maid of twilight, when she recognized the truth, solid truth, without evasion, she forgot her unwashed kerchiefs, unrinsed laundry on the wharf. On the broad wharf there she left it, on the red still of the jetty. Then she gathered up her skirts, raised her dress hem in her hand, and she hurried on her way, and at once she started running. Reaches Ilmarinen's home, where she steps into the smithy. There the craftsman Ilmarinen, the eternal hammerer, was fashioning an iron bench, overlaid with silver figures, ell of fine ash on his head, soot a fathom on his shoulders. Cried his sister from the doorway, Smith, my brother Ilmarinen, you eternal hammerer, forge a little shuttle for me, lovely rings too for my fingers, 2 or 3 pairs for my ears, 5, 6 hangers for my belt. Then I'll tell you truth that's plain, something true that can be trusted. Yes, indeed, said Ilmarinen, if your message is a good one, I will forge a shuttle for you. Pretty rings too for your fingers, silver crosslet for your bosom, and repair your earrings for you. If your message is a bad one, I will smash the ones you have, throw them in the furnace fire on the bottom of my forge. Oh, you blacksmith, said his sister, don't you ever think of marrying her to whom you are betrothed, whom you wanted for your housewife? You just go on hammering all the time, clinking, clanking. In the summers shoeing horses, winters making up the horseshoes, nights you build your basket sleigh, days you fix the sides for traveling, so that you can go off wooing to the halls of Pohjola. Let me tell you now, even now, slyer men are on their way, cleverer ones ahead of you. They will win your very own one, take your dear one for themselves, whom you've yearned for 2 long years, and for 3 years you have courted. Right now Väinämöinen's headed there across the wide blue sea, in a boat with golden prow, steering with a copper oar, for the dark edge of Pohjola, for the foggy land of sedges. For the smith the news was grievous, heavy was the hour for him. Then the tongs fell from his fingers, heavily his hammer sank. He said, Annikki, my dear sister, I will make a shuttle for you, lovely rings for your fingers, 2 or 3 pairs for your ears, 5, 6 hangers for your belt. Now just heat a sauna for me, make the vapors sweet as honey, make the fire up with small kindling, sticks and splinters quickly burning, with a little lye and ashes. Make some lye soap ready for me, so that I can clean my head. Scrub my body till I'm white, wash away the soot of autumn and the ash of winter's work. Annikki of goodly name warmed the sauna secretly, with kindling that the wind has broken, by the lightning struck asunder, closed the right stones from the rapids, that the steam might rise up hotly. when the stones are splashed with water, carried here from a lover's spring, bubbling from a way like quagmire, cut a leafy slapper for him, tender one of sapling sprays, and she steeped it honey soft, steamed it on a honey stone, then dissolving milky ash, with marrow she prepared the soap, foamy, frothy, glistening soap, as a cleanser for the suitor, for his head and for his body. While the sauna was preparing, and the bath for one made ready, Ilmarinen, smith eternal, forged the ornaments she wanted. When she put them when he put them in her hand, she replied obediently, "I have warmed the sauna for you, heated up the steamy vapor, and have steeped the slappers tender, tender as the lover's leaf. Bathe now, brother, at your pleasure, splashing water without stinting. Wash until your hair is flaxen and your face is white as snowflakes." So the blacksmith bathed himself there at his pleasure, rinsing till his skin was white, pouring water recklessly, till his face was glowing clear, temples flushing like a flower, neck as white as any hen's egg, his whole body whitely clean when he came in from the sauna. They could hardly recognize him, with his face so shining bright, and his cheeks so flushing red. "Sister Annika," he said, "fetch me now my linen shirt. Bring me all the proper clothing, which will set my figure off, make me look a proper suitor." So she brought his linen shirt for his bare and sweatless body, then the snugly fitting trousers, which his mother's hands were sewn, covering up his sootless flanks, so that not a bone was showing. Then she sought him supple stockings knitted by his mother as a virgin, for his legs now free of lather, and the well-fleshed turn of calf. Then she brought him sturdy shoes, sturdy boots of German make, fitting over stockings knitted by his mother as a virgin. Next a jacket of blue broadcloth, with a liver-colored lining, over his fine shirt of linen, woven from the purest flax. Then a homespun woolen topcoat, edges trimmed with fourfold stripes, over his blue broadcloth jacket, tailored to the latest fashion. Then a fur coat 1,000-buttoned, with 100 hoops bare-boned, over a homespun woolen topcoat, and the latter trimmed with broadcloth. Over all, around his middle, a gold-ornamented belt, woven for him by his mother when she was a braidhead maiden. Then the well-embroidered gloves, golden-wristed fancy gauntlets, made for him by Lapland children, fitted for his shapely fingers. Lastly, on his yellow curls, a high-peaked hat his father left him, bought when he himself went courting. So smith Ilmarinen dresses, garbed in all the proper garments. He is ready for his journey, and instructs his faithful servant, "Harness up a good horse for me, hitch him to my traveling sleigh. I am starting for a drive, I am off to Pohjola." Said the man, "We have 6 stallions, sleek ones, oat-fed horses all. Which one of them do you want?" Said the craftsman Ilmarinen, "Take the best of all the stallions, put the young colt into harness, hitch that brown one to the sleigh, on the shaft bows of the traces, put the cuckoo bells 7, blue bells making mournful music. Let the grieving of a lover, to make the lovelies look around, and delight the virgin maidens, Bring me now a bearskin rug, so that I can sit there warmly. Then devise a sleigh top for me from the hide of water dragon. So the faithful lifetime servant bought with money, put the young colt into harness, hitched that brown colt one to the sleigh, put 6 cuckoo bells, 7 bluebirds making mournful music. On the shaft bow, on the traces, set the bearskin rug on the seat, so that he could sit there warmly, and devise a sleigh top for him from the hide of water dragon. Ilmarinen, smith eternal, now entreated Ukko humbly, prayed to Ukko thunderer, O thou Ukko, send down new snow, new fine snow in powdery flakes, for my sleigh to slip on swiftly, slippery snow to speed my way. Ukko did send down new snow, new fine snow in powdery flakes, covering up the hither stalks and the stalks of berry bushes. Then he mounted to the seat on his steely runnard sleigh, and he prayed his starting prayer. May good fortune bless my reins, God be with me in my sleigh. Good luck will not break the reins, Jumala never wrecks a sleigh. Then he took the reins in one hand, in the other held the whip, struck the horse and urged him onward. On now, Blazehead, run for it. Go now, Flaxmane, at full speed. Then he drives on easily, over the dunes along the shore, swiftly by the straits of Mead, and along the alder ridges, rattling off along the shore, coasting out along the sands. On his face the gravel gritting, on his breast the sea spray splashing. Drove a day and drove a second, even on a third day driving. It was on the third day when he overtook old Väinämöinen, and directly he addressed him. So it's you, old Väinämöinen. Let us strike a friendly bargain. Though we're rivals for betrothal and opponents in our courting, let's not take the girl by force, marry her against her wishes. And old Väinämöinen nodded. Very gladly I agree. Let's not take the girl by force, nor marry her against her wishes. Let her go to whom she chooses, to the man that she desires. Keep our friendship without grudges, without feuding over her. Then they went on each his way, sailed the vessel shoreline humming, ran the stallion earth was rumbling. Just a little time passed over, like a tiny rash of rain, till they heard the watchdog baying, guardian of the big house barking, from the dark of Pohjola, from the gloomy land of sedges, on its haunches by the cornfield, with its tail it thumped and ground. It first listened, growling softly, then barked out in loud alarm. Said the master of Pohjola, What's the grey dog barking for? Flop-ear making all that noise for? Go out, girl, and look around. Cunningly the girl replied, But dear father, I've no time. That big cow barn must be cleaned, and that big herd must be tended. Then there's all that grain to grind, and the fine meal to be sifted. Find the meal the grindstone heavy, and of little strength the grinder. Deep the castle demons baying, now and then the grey dog growling. Said the master of Pohjola, Go, old woman, take a look. What's the grey dog barking at? Flop-ear of the castle baying. But the woman said to him, There's no time, and I can't do it. I must feed this numerous family, and attend to every breakfast. Knead the dough and bake the bread. The loaf is big, the meal is fine, and of little strength the baker. Said the master of Pohjola, Always women are in a hurry, and their daughters always busy. Busy toasting on the stove bench, busy lolling at their beds. You go, son, and look around. But the son in turn replied, I've no time to look around. I must grind the dull old axe bit, chop that big old log in two, split a mighty pile of faggots, and make kindling out of cordwood. Big the pile, small the kindling, and of little strength the chopper. Still the guardian dog was barking, watchdog of the castle baying. Still the savage whelp is howling, and the island watchdog whining, as its rear end bumped the ground with its woolly tail upcurling. Said the master of Pohjola, a guardian's barking does not lie. Never give a false alarm, not just growling at the pine trees. So he went to look himself, walking out across the farmyard, to the very farthest meadow, to the last of his back pastures, looking where the dog was pointing, sighting straight along its muzzle, over a barren rise of ground, and along a ridge of alders. He beheld the reason for it, why the grey watchdog was barking, and the best of dogs was whining, why the woolly tail was howling, when he saw the red boat sailing by the shore of Lover's Bay, where a basket sleigh came hurrying on the landward side of Meadwood. Then the master of Pohjola quickly went into the house, to the shelter of his roof, and announced, Strangers are coming on the surface of the blue sea. There a basket sleigh is coasting, yonder on that side of Meadwood, and a big ship sailing here on this side of Lover's Bay. Said the matron of Pohjola, Where now can we get an omen for a sign about these strangers? Oh, my small maid, put a stick of rowan on the fire, holy twig into the blaze. If the sap should ooze out bloody, then it means that war is coming. When it leaks out water only, we shall always live in peace. So the little maid of Northland, serving girl, humble maiden, put the rowan in the fire, holy wood into the flames, but it does not ooze out bloody, nor neither blood nor water oozing, but began to drip with honey, sweetly trickling out as mead. Said an old crone from the corner, lying there beneath her blanket, When the wood is oozing honey, when the mead is trickling out, it foretells good company. Mighty suitors must be coming. Then the dame of Pohjola, Northland matron, native daughter, bustled quickly out of doors. Stepping outside to the farmyard, looking seaward, turning southward, there she saw a new boat sailing, saw 100 planker coming. By the shore of Lover's Bay, red and blue the boat was gleaming, at the stern a handsome fellow, steering with copper oar. Then she saw a stallion running, with a red sleigh coming on, speeding with a basket sleigh on the landward side of Meadwood, with 6 golden springtime cuckoos carved upon the shaft bow calling, and then 7 bluish creatures on the traces sweetly singing. There a man sat, reins in hands, stout and of serious aspect. Said the matron to her daughter, Which one will you choose to go with, when they come here asking for you, to become their lifelong partner, little chicken of their bosom? Now the one who's sailing here, and the red boat on the bay, that one is old Väinämöinen, and he comes with many presents, and his boat are costly treasures. But the one who drives the sleigh, hurrying in his fancy sled, on the landward side of Meadwood, is the craftsman Ilmarinen, and he comes with empty lies, loaded up with would-be magic. When they come into the house, fetch a pitcher full of mead. Bring it in a 2-eared pitcher. Put the pitcher in the hand of the man you ought to go with. Hand it to old Väinämöinen, who brings good things in his vessel, such a freight of many treasures. But the lovely northern maiden gave the answer she had ready. O my mother, you who bore me and reared me. No, my mother, I don't want to choose a husband for his wealth or for his wisdom, but for the goodness of his features and the beauty of his body. Nor has any virgin ever wanted to be sold for dross. This girl must go without barter, freely to smith Ilmarinen, who already forged the Sampo and devised its ciphered color. Said the mistress of Pohjola, O my child, my little lambkin, so you're going to the blacksmith. Sweetly stroke his sweaty forehead, launder out his homespun tatters, even wash his sooty head. But to this the daughter answered, I won't go to old man Väinö, not to such an ancient dotard. It would only lead to trouble, and I'd be forever lonely. First to come was Väinämöinen, sailed his red boat draped in broadcloth, straight up to the copper pier, to the iron-banded rollers. Then he went up to the big house, boldly underneath the roof, standing in the open doorway. On the door beneath the lintel, he addressed the northern maiden. Now, girl, will you come to me? Will you be my friend forever? Will you be my lifelong partner, little chicken of my bosom? Said the lovely northern maiden, and remembering inquired, Have you built the boat already? Have you shaped the wondrous vessel? From the splinters of my spindle, crumlets of my carding comb? Slyly Väinämöinen answered, I have built a goodly vessel, shaped a big sea-worthy ship, with its sturdy in its storm, holding steady against a headwind, cleaving through the ocean rollers as it sails across the sea, riding lightly like a bubble, floating like a water lily, on the waters of Pohjola, on the crest of Whitecaps rising. Said the lovely northern maiden, Seamen are not to my liking, nor those riders of the sea. Where the wind can wreck the mind, a hava can blast the brain. I think I may not come to you. No, I will not come to you, to become your friend forever, little chicken of your bosom, as the spreader of your bed, as the smoother of your pillow.